Here's your weather video for this Sunday morning, September the 24th. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray, and we are quickly running out of September. By this time next week, we'll be into October. Tropical storm Ophelia moved inland on the North Carolina coast early on Saturday morning and is now just a remnant low there over northern Virginia. Tropical Depression 17 formed Friday night. It's already a tropical storm. This is Philippe showing up on the infrared satellite pictures this morning, about midway there between the northern Leeward Islands and the Cape Verde Islands in the Atlantic. The system will gradually become better organized, but never really going to amount to much. Although, as I record this shortly after 11:15 on Saturday evening, that's quite a burst of convection there. I would show you the loop, but the images are sort of messed up. Let's go to the tracking chart now across the Atlantic. There you see the remnants of Ophelia late on this Saturday evening, becoming a remnant low, will be moving near Washington, D.C. Early this morning, and then making a sharp right turn out over to southern New Jersey as it begins to move out over the Atlantic. You see Philippe's track there, forecast by the National Hurricane Center, to begin gradually bending to the northeast, some 500 or 600 miles east of the islands of the Caribbean, probably becoming a 70 mile per hour tropical storm before it's over, and then gradually beginning to turn to the north and northeast, moving out into the Atlantic shipping lanes. Now, there is another disturbance that the Hurricane Center is outlooking there. About a 20% chance that it becomes a tropical cyclone. Wouldn't expect that it wouldn't, and it probably is going to follow this same path out over the Atlantic. We've just been very lucky that all these storms have been eating away the big Atlantic ridge, and that is what is sort of happening and keeping them from affecting mostly the United States. Now, that's good news. Now, the upper pattern across North America shows that upper trough early on Sunday morning, extending from the remnants of Ophelia there over Maryland and northern Virginia, extending back into the Gulf of Mexico. As we go through time this week, that trough will gradually disintegrate. The upper low will become the remnant feature there over the Gulf of Mexico. High pressure will sort of build in, but you can see by the weekend, this is Thursday into Friday, we see another trough developing along the East Coast. Been a very persistent feature. High pressure building over the eastern part of Canada. Big trough over the western United States, drops into the Four Corners region, gradually moves on up into Canada, keeping us in a really nice ridge of high pressure as we get into the first week of October. And that week 2 period could spell some fairly typical, very nice weather for this time of year for Alabama. Now, the moisture sort of tells the story here. This is early on Sunday morning, showing very dry air on the backside of Ophelia there over Tennessee, North Carolina, northern Georgia, northern Alabama. But that's going to be coming to an end as we go through the day today. You can see moisture levels gradually increasing from the west, while we'll start out mostly sunny this morning with cool, comfortable readings in the 50s over the northeastern quarter of Alabama, with lower 60s elsewhere. Some clouds will begin to increase through the day and as we go into the overnight hours tonight. Now, by Monday, the moisture levels will continue to rise. You see they've really increased from where they are early on Sunday. Some of those precipitable water values are approaching 2 inches there over south central Alabama, and this means a few light showers will begin appearing. Now, you see those to the west of Alabama here early on Sunday morning, but as we go into Monday, some of those are going to work their way into the western part of the state, areas generally from I-59 to the west. We'll see a few scattered showers on Monday. High temperatures will still be in the upper 80s generally today and tomorrow. and overnight lows will be warming slowly into the 60s. Now, as we get into Tuesday, a few isolated showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm also. High temperatures still in the middle to upper 80s across Alabama. And as we get into Wednesday, still a chance of an isolated shower or storm. It looks like a little frontal system is working its way down into north and central Alabama. High temperatures will fall back a degree or two, and by Wednesday we'll see highs in the lower 80s. As we go toward Thursday, shower chances begin to thin out. Can't rule out an isolated shower or storm, but by Friday we'll see that big high-pressure system over the eastern part of the United States and Canada beginning to flex its muscles, bridging down into Alabama, and that means drier and slightly cooler, but not cool temperatures as we get into the week 2 voodoo period here. Out by Tuesday, Wednesday, you see Alabama and the southeastern United States remaining dry. And that's pretty much the picture until we get into the following weekend when the ridge breaks down. You remember seeing that low pressure trough developing over the eastern United States again there at the end of the 2-week period, and some showers and thunderstorms move into Alabama. Nothing looks tropical, anything to threaten us in any way across Alabama. These are temperatures off the national blend of models, showing a fairly uniform pattern across Alabama. We'll fall from the mid to upper 80s that we'll be experiencing today, Monday and Tuesday, into a fairly constant pattern of highs in the lower 80s, overnight lows dropping back through the upper and middle 50s into the lower 60s by the end of the period. And that's pretty much right where we should be for this time of year in Alabama. Weather Brains, the weekly netcast that's all about weather. We'll be talking about modeling and all the global models using a homegrown show on Monday night. Dr. Neil Jacobs will be will turn into the Weather Brain for the week, and he's a great one to have. Weather Brains is the weekly netcast. It's all about weather. We record it on Monday nights generally. You can find it wherever you like to find your podcast. Of course, you can watch it live on YouTube or over the air on the .2 channels of ABC 3340. Well, that's your weather video for this Sunday. It's the 24th of September. I'll have notes on the blog and update on the forecast coming up at noon. Keep you updated on anything that happens with Philippe, although we don't expect it to be of any consequence to the United States or any of our interests around the Caribbean. So things should be kind of quiet as we just track it off to the northeast. But until I see you next Sunday, when we do this again, as I always tell you, keep an eye to the sky because you'll always have something fun to look at.